Hello everyone, this is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. Today we're playing some Magnezone. Didn't think I'd be saying that in a while, but it does gain a couple new things from the new set, and really this is going to be, if anything, a showcase of how powerful Jirachi is at trying to help out some Stage 2 decks. But with the energy acceleration of Magnezone, we do have the ability to tech in some nice attackers to help out some big matchups, and can actually be a threat in the format, so can be pretty interesting. I think this is pretty much a lower tier deck, going to be, like a less powerful Malamar for the most part. But there are some key identifying factors that can make this potentially more viable. The Cyrus Prism Star synergy, the Jasmine synergy on turn 2 is very appealing, and just using the Magnezone itself may be good in some sort of Malamar mirror matches. Obviously, you're a little bit weak to Ultra Necrozma because you're using a Jirachi-based build, but against the Psychic Mally, this might be pretty favoured. So there are some worlds where this deck might cause a lot of other standard decks some issues, so I thought it would be worth profiling. Let's jump into the list. First of all, 4 copies of Jirachi, Stellar Wish being able to pull out some key pieces. We are a Lily Nest Ball based deck to try and find our basics early on, trying to find ourselves Rare Candy turn 2, and that's pretty much the thing that this deck lives and dies by, if you can get that Magnetic Circuit rolling early. So this Jirachi is really going to try and ramp that up and make it more consistent for you, which is going to be pretty good. So Stellar Wish is going to be so important. We play boards, switches, and Guzmas all to try and get as many uses out of your Jirachis as possible. So these are important things to note. From there, 3-3 of the Magnezone, 3 copies of the Solid Unit Magnemite. There's a lot of spreading decks out there right now, so having a nice bonus ability is going to be cool for us. Magnezone offering this amazing ability that allows us to attach a metal energy from our hand to one of our Pokemon as often as we like, trying to power up some hefty attack costs. His being one of them. Zap Cannon does 130 for 3 metal and a colorless, and you can't use Zap Cannon during your next turn. Once again, I'll point you in the direction of a skateboard and switches and Guzma to get around this a little bit better. His retreat cost is actually surprisingly low at just 2, so that's going to be pretty nice. He does have a nice psychic resist as well, so he can be tanky against some Malamar builds, which I've already mentioned once. And he can hit 130, which is a good enough number to knock out some good non-GX stuff in the game right now. We have 2 copies of Dustmane Necrozma GX. He's a 190 hit point Ultra Beast, metal type with 3 attacks. Claw Slash just does 60, able to knock out a good chunk of evolving basics if you really need to. Meteor Tempest is the big selling point here. Discarding 3 energy from him to do 220 is a huge chunk of damage, knocking out most basic and stage 1 GX Pokemon out there right now, and a good number of basically a good number of threats in the game, which is pretty awesome. Sun's Eclipse GX can reach even Stage 2 GX Pokemon. You can only use it if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, but 250 for 3 metal is super efficient and huge damage output. Unfortunately, you can't knock out a Pika-Rom because of resistance, but it is able to deal with like most Stage 2 GX, well, pretty much every Stage 2 GX, and yeah, it's just a big chunk of damage where you get to retain the energies as well on him, which is pretty cool. So it can save you the headache of finding more energies the following turn to use Meteor Tempest if he can tank, which, there's a reasonable chance when you have 190 hit points. It's not the worst thing to think about in the world. The final metal attacker is going to be our Solgaleo Prism Star. It again has this annoying 160 hit points to deal with, and that nice psychic resistance. Corona Impact does 160 and can't use his attack next turn. Again, all the switches can mitigate this as best we can. 160 is not quite a perfect number. It's good enough to deal with most non-GX things. Not quite enough to reach a Tapu Lele, unfortunately. I'm not playing Delmise in the build because I haven't found space for him. You could think about adding in Delmise so that he could be a nice sniper of Leles, basically, but that's really about it. Normally, he's just a non-GX guy to help out the Malamar matchups. Radiant Star is a nice backup option for us as well. If we're able to get metal energies in the bin early, we can try to recycle them with the Radiant Star, which is pretty worth noting as well. From there, we're going to play 1 copy of Onyx. He is just such a good card in the format right now when Zoroark and Pika-Rom are both weak to fighting, and they're both highly sought-after decks. And Landcrush just hits magic numbers against them. We have a couple copies of Stretcher to try and reuse him in the matchups where he's great. Then we have 1 copy of Shining Arceus. Fabled Defense is a nice bonus ability we get to try and protect ourselves against some spreading archetypes. Again, the Magnemite already has this, but the Arceus can protect the rest of the board, which is cool. But the main reason I have him in here is for his own spreading potential with Ultimate Arrow, doing 30 to each of your opponent's Pokemon. He's pretty much the only answer I could come up with to beating Lost March, so I've put him in here pretty much just for that. Lost March is a big contender right now, and it's worth trying to tech for it. So we're going to have him in here and hope that we can stretch her a bunch of times to reuse that ultimate arrow. And we'll round out the list with one copy of Tapu Lele. Wonder Tag is a great ability to get our turn 1 supporters going. Jasmine is amazing on turn 2 for us, for example. Or sorry, on turn 1 going second. So that's always important to pull out, as well as some of our lower counts of supporters that we are playing in this list. So it can be critical in certain turns. Onto the item cards. A couple of copies of Stretcher. Like I said, reusing Arceus and Onyx in the matchups that they're crucial in, as well as any of your metal dudes in general. 3 copies of Nest, as well as 4 copies of Ultra Ball, gives us plenty of search to get lots of basics down on the board early, and looking to get that Magnezone on turn 2. Speaking of which, that's why we have 4 copies of Candy. Even though we can't, evolve all of our Magnezones, we only play 303. It's just trying to maximize the odds of getting it on turn 2, pretty much. These 3 switches and the 3 boards, obviously good for Jirachi to reuse Stellar Wish, but also we have chunky retreat cost on all of our dudes, so these switches come in handy a lot of the time. 3 copies of Mount Coronet. Counter stadiums are big right now because the amount of Prism Star stadiums being played, and this is synergistic very much so with our list because we discard at least 3 energy with our Meteor Tempest, and then if it gets knocked out, that's a 4th energy we need to recover, as the same with all of our non-GX things. That's like 4 energy a lot of the time if they do fall. So using Mount Coronet and Fisherman are going to be important to recycle these energy cards so that we can circuit them all back into play at once. That's pretty much the idea here. Onto the supporters, we play 1 copy of Jasmine. This is again a critical card when we are going second. It can basically grab you like extra Magnemite pieces, Jirachi pieces, and either a good non-GX or a good GX attacker, as well as your Magnezone for turn 2. It's a really nice card for this deck, and we can take full advantage of going second. I would always still go first with this deck. Please do still choose to go first with the build, because you're an evolution deck. So always go first if you have the option in this. Like, currently there's no downside to going first in Pokemon, so you always want to go first. And Jasmine, although it can be really, really nice when we are going second, you still don't want to go second. You still pick first every time. Then we have 1 copy of the Cyrus Prism Star, a spicy supporter that can try and ruin your opponent's bench at some point in the game. Effectively, they get to choose 2 that they keep, and the rest all go straight back into their deck. This is going to be really nice against some other sort of setup-based decks, really annoying for Malamar builds, really annoying for Zoroark-based builds. You can really catch people off guard with this effect, and people don't really expect it so much. We have the Jirachi, which is always a metal pivot that we can take advantage of in this deck. And even our metal attackers a lot of the time we can use. So the Cyrus is often very live for us. As long as we can weave him in, it could be huge. And I thought for some spice, we'd have it in here as well, to give it some merit against, or sort of over, like a Malamar build in general. 2 copies of Lady enters the deck. I think we get to be a little bit more greedy with this build, because the Stellar Wish is going to be hopefully pulling out the Ultra Ball pieces and the Rare Candy pieces, so we don't need as many cards like Cynthia in the deck to sort of shuffle into your Magnezone. You're hoping that you've already, established that in your hand with Jirachi. And if that's the case, the Lady is going to be critical for us because we play a low count of metal energies that we try and recycle and find as much as possible. So the Jirachi is really an enabler for a card like Lady to see play in this deck. 4 is a crucial number for all of our attacks. So it feels really nice just to pull out the entire cards of the deck. And if you do the Lady first, it means your Stellar Wish has even higher odds of hitting the cards that you want. So it can help thin the deck really nicely. That's why we have a low count of the Cynthia. I think it's a nice shuffle draw option to have in the deck, but I feel like more often than not, we're trying to hit the pieces off our Jirachi, and then we want to use things like Lady or Fisherman to recover energies and make sure we can attack. So the Fisherman, alongside the Coronets, is going to give us plenty of energies to play around with for the entire game, even with the Radiant Star fallback as well, if we really do get into dire straits with energy. From there, 3 copies of Guzma to, again, synergize with Jirachi, as well as just pick off big threats on the board. 3 copies of Lily. You could think about flip-flopping a Cynthia and a Lily. I've kind of been playing around with both. I think this is, just a really nice turn 1 play that you can go for. But that said, oftentimes if we go second anyway, you want to Lele for Jasmine. So I feel just 3 copies is enough alongside 2 Cynthia. Play around with these counts if you really want to. And 3 copies of board. May need to go on the Jirachi for your retreating. And just 8 metal. It's not a lot at all, but I think with the Ladies and the Fishermans and the Coronets, we can recycle them as much as possible. Getting them in the bin early with Ultra Balls is always, pretty free for you because of all these recovery cards. You don't really mind bidding them, knowing that you can get them back later on in the game. In terms of other attackers and things, I've already mentioned the Delmise as an option in the deck. It means that your Sun Steel Strike GX attack can knock out Pikarom. Oh, sorry, Sun's Eclipse GX attack can knock out a Pikarom even through resistance, and it also means your Corona Impact can get through Tapu Leles. It is worth noting, but I feel like Onyx is already used in the Pikarom matchup, and Solgaleo Prism is more of a Malamar tech card than anything else, in my opinion. Dialga is also a card you could consider. Not the GX, because we don't play choice bands into the list, so his damage output is really pretty poor. But the non-GX is a lot more reasonable. Again, just another annoying, psychic resisting non-GX Pokemon that can take knockouts with turn back time, deal with their Malamars, try and hurt their engine. You can also knock out, other opposing stage 2s if they have 60 hit point basics, or even like Zoroarks. You're obviously only taking one prize because you devolve first and then you check for knockouts afterwards. But it still could be annoying to hurt their draw engines. Power Blast being a good number for, again, knocking out just other non-GX things. So if you want to have a more non-GX based deck, you can go down that route. Stack Attacker GX is another one that I've considered. Ultra Wall provides a nice ability to push your Duskmane Necrozma to 200 hit points, which is a much more annoying number for Pikarom players because it's essentially an extra electro power for them if they're attacking with their Tapu Koko GX or their Zeraora GX. And that's going to be really nice for you. But you also gain the Assembly GX attack, which does 50 plus 50 more for each prize you have taken. So it's an aggressive GX attack option that we gain if we have gone ahead, or if we need to close out those last two big prizes where Sun's Eclipse GX is more defensive. We have a sort of like when we're ahead style GX attack to bear in mind. I think in general, this guy's not going to struggle taking one-hit KOs. That's why Stack Attacker doesn't quite make the list. From there, there's all sorts of colorless attackers you could be considering. The Eevee Snorlax is one. The tag team, I feel like it's very detrimental to have tag teams to start out with in the list. You also want to have as few GXs in play as possible in some matchups, so just having him in the list is a liability in a good amount of matchups, which is unfortunate because it can offer, again, some great damage output for us if we really need to, and a good sort of hand refresh GX attack as well. One that's a lot less passive than the Sun's Eclipse because it's always going to be live as long as you can have those energy cards. So the Eevee Snorlax is definitely worth considering if you want to get some tag team fun going on in the build. But for now, let's jump into the ladder and see how this deck performs. I think it is, once again, more of a fun deck, just to sort of highlight the power of Jirachi more than anything else. And we may be seeing more Stage 2 decks try and incorporate a Jirachi build just because it's so vital at getting those rare candies that your win rate does strengthen just because you can get your Stage 2 more often. And that's going to be awesome. We do win the flip, and we'll choose to go first, even though we played Jasmine. And we'll see what we're up against. We do lead a Jirachi, which is nice. We have Rare Candy, Magnemite, and Lele, so we could get a big Lily off and give ourselves a likely chance of getting a zone going, which is nice. And we see Lost March, so Shining Arceus is going straight on our board, obviously. I want to Lele first. We are putting a 2-prize Pokemon on our board, but I think it's not a big concern for us. We have Cyrus, which we won't be using this matchup. We have Lily, Jasmine's in here, a couple Guzmas. 3 zones are in here, 1 Magnemite is prized. We have 4 rare candies because 1's in hand. Yep, looking good. We prized an energy, Coronet as well, but we can live with that. Lost March not known for playing too many stadiums. We have to keep an eye out for Sky Pillar. That's really the only thing. We'll attach to our Arceus straight away, and I'll Lily before the Stellar Wish, because we can draw into some stuff and thin the hand first, like we can now. We can get a second Magnemite. I think with no switching cards in our hand, it's better than getting a backup Jirachi, so we'll just Stellar Wish here and look to find Ultra Ball, which we do, which is pretty poggers. So next turn we have Candy Zone, Cynthia or Guzma based on what we Stellar Wish into and what we draw into. Yeah, seems good. Obviously, our opponent can and very much might go for a turn 1 Let Loose. So the question is, do we Ultra Ball 2 Metal Energies now, just to have synergy with Mount Coronet? And if we do I just put another Jirachi on the board, just to protect ourselves against Let Loose? Saying no to a turn 2 Candy Zone is awkward, but I think it's just the best play. I think we get Let Loose almost every time here as a stage 2 deck that's used the Lily. I think he would just always Let Loose. I'd be amazed if he doesn't Let Loose here. Honestly amazed. So I think I'd rather prepare for that. Because if he was able to Let Loose and take a knockout, we'd just be so sad. We'd be so sad. Obviously he let a Hoppip, so it's hard for him to knock out, but he get some random Natu knockout or something. With a Guzma. Would be scary. I'd be very sad. So here comes Hoppip number 2 with the net ball. Playing great balls as well. Good man. He's a man of culture. There's Hoppip number 3 on his board. We're not too concerned about damage output because we're just trying to spam Shining Arceus. I should check my stretch accounts actually. That's for sure. You're going to see Great Ball for Emolga. So he can start nuzzling around if he wants to. You can see a Trumbeak first. What if he saw Osiris Prism Star? What if he saw the Spice? That would be sad. You can see the Emolga and just a Cynthia. His board's pretty nicely set up already. He still has Nuzzly Gathering if he wants to get extra dig potential with comms or with Lost Blenders for damage output. He's going to Mountain Pass. Oh man, we're not going to get Let Loose and I'm going to be so upset. Oh man. Oh. Value. That's insane. Okay. I think I Cynthia before I use Jirachi because there's no guarantee that we can retreat our Jirachi. Now we have a skateboard and switch. So we're really just looking for Stadium now. There it is. So, the 30s on all these guys is a little worrying because he could just evolve all of them up and we lose a lot of damage, basically. And he's already at 20. Do we just go for a Lele Smack here? Yeah, Lele Smack sounds correct to me. We take a Hoppip off his board to make his damage output weaker. And I don't just want to sacrifice Shining Arceus. It doesn't make sense. We don't need to play switch into our other Jirachi, so I'll just skateboard the active and just take a Lele knockout. It's a little bit ballsy when there's a new age list that can... Do I commit energy? Yeah, I'm always playing around Let Loose. That's basically what I'm always trying to do at this point. It's a little bit ballsy when he has sometimes 4 Lost Blender in the list now and Emolga to try and pull these things out. But we're denying a Skip Loom coming down, which is a denial of 40 damage. And that could help our Lele survival. And that sounds good to me. Also, the fact is, he could just evolve these Skip Looms and the Arceus damage would be wasted. Arceus being able to knock out Emolgas in 2 hits is really cool. Natu's in 2 hits. All that stuff is very scary for people. We do see a Blender after the Nuzzly Gathering. Another Trumbeak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 120. He's done well to find his Trumbeaks early. He's going to get rid of a Cynthia, which is a little awkward. Going to see a Grass Energy. And he's just going to retreat and give us the old Lost March for 120. We'll draw into Jasmine, which could give us a second Candy Zone for some protection. I think I want to start off with Switch here, just to lower our hand size at the very least, just for, because I mean, Lele's not taking a knockout, so. And if we hit Guzma, even that's not a bad shout here. Well, there's Guzma and Lady. I think we're going to Guzma here again. We're sort of sacrificing the Lele, but we get value because we take 2 prizes, then he takes 2 prizes, and we're still kind of ahead in that race. And hopefully then he has to bench stuff And he only has 2 cards in his hand, so we can just try and punish. I think it's right. And if we're using Guzma, we're going to retreat into our other Jirachi. And hope to hit, I don't know, Ultra Ball. Backup Ultra Ball would be nice. Backup Fisherman. How do we like the sound of that? Stadium's already in hand. Backup Guzma sounds fine. Second Guzma. We're just going to try and deal with Hoppets for days. And if we can use our Shining Arceus to... if we can use Guzma to pull up like an Oranguru or something, that could be really awkward for him. So we'll take another Hoppip prize. Seems good, seems good. Going aggro against the Lost March player is fun. Maybe with Magnezone's 150 hit points and resist, we could stay out of range of knockout. If we're already looking at Jasmine Rare Candy, we don't mind putting like a spare one up into the active. Who knows? Maybe we're just going to out-aggro a Lost March player. They're just going to Nuzly Gathering and attack, which is not so scary. We're going to go into our Skateboarder Jirachi. Ultra Ball sounds good. We'll just get rid of these. Rare Candy sounds good. And now we'll Stellar Wish before the Lily, I think, because if we hit Lady, I'm just going to Magnezone attack. Fisherman does not get us there. That's just the same as our Stadium at the moment. Cyrus does nothing. Switch allows us to have another Jirachi attempt. I don't mind using it early. The 30-30 isn't strong here, even though he's only doing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. He's not quite in range just yet, but a Lady would be the dream here. No Lady, which is sad. Let's take the... another Ultra Ball, I think, just to lower the hand size for Lily. We can put an Onyx down to attack with. Big old Onyx. And this is where I have to commit to something. No, I don't have to commit. I'll just draw 4 from Lily. Why commit, right? So we whiffed by 1 energy, which is a little bit sad face emoji. So we're just going to do the 30-30. It's not that good, to be honest, but it's still putting pressure on his Emolga for later. And it forces him to have another means of getting extra damage. And he seems to have been drawing pretty poorly so far. So this is a fairly weak Ultimate Arrow for what we're trying to do here against this matchup for sure. We want him to put down, you know, Nartus and Hoppips and, well, not really Hoppips, but Nartus. Nartus and Marshadows and stuff like that. He's been fairly disciplined. Has he really seen 4 Trombeak this early? My god. So good. So powerful. He's also got a great ball. That's a whiff. It's going to whiff from a Mulga as well. Wow, okay. He's just going to swing. So again, we're hunting now for Fisherman or Lady. Either is enough, because we still have Map Coronet to fall back on. And Energy is also enough, so that's fine. We can just Stellar Wish here. Let's use the Lady just to pull out more cards from our deck. Card from our deck. Monka. What's his damage output? 4, 5, 6, 7. 140. I'm putting it on Magnezone. We have to. I don't think just feeding him Onyx for Natu DC play is correct. He has to attack with Natu, so... we shall do this. I don't see why I wouldn't put the skateboard down. Actually, no, other than retreat plays. We already have a Coronet in hand, though. Again, I'm more concerned about let loose every turn, basically, against Lost March. So now we level up the prize trade with the promise of an Emolga being knocked out from a Shining Arceus. And again, he's hunting for extra damage. We haven't seen... how many blenders have we seen so far? Just one. Let me see a Pokecon from him here. Putting an Emolga in. Get maybe a Natu out, or a Let Loose out, depending on his hand. Just a Natu, okay. So again, he is basically a blender away. Well, there you go. Because he Nest Ball for Natu. So now we're 2 Shining Arceus attacks away from game. And he has 3 prizes. So if we can work towards that this turn, that's definitely what we want to do. So pulling a Stretcher or an Ultra Ball or something like a Supporter would be huge. At the very least, we can Onyx attack, guaranteed. I think we're just pulling out this. We just want to thin from all these things. I need to check. We do have both stretchers. Is it worth digging? We have no other supporter to play this turn. We already have guaranteed knockout. Just the only thing is this way we're not getting rid of a DCE. I guess we wouldn't be getting rid of the DCE anyway if we hit with the Shining Arceus. So I guess we do the retreat play. Nice. So now, next turn, we need to find Stretcher again. That's it. And we have 13 cards in deck. That's as long as he can find a DC as well to attack with. He can't knock out our Magnezone because the Shining Arceus is too much of a threat. It's threatening game. We take 1 prize this turn. And we're forcing him to have a DCE. And if he does, we still have the option to just look at the 5 of our top 12 to do stuff. He does have DC for Lost March. So let's see if we can get the last Arceus. It's down to this. Arceus and finding lots of energy cards, which is actually really hard for us, to be fair. Seems we need to Fisherman this turn. I don't think I can actually do it. What's his damage output? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 180, so that even kills this. It doesn't kill our GX though, but I can't find our GX. Yikes, okay. Stretcher is not enough. Which is sad news. Give him the old slap. How do I win? How do I win? I need to... because I can't Stretch and Fisherman in the same turn. Fisherman isn't good enough in any case, because I need to retreat and use Jirachi. My other Jirachi to pull out a card, just to retreat again. This is not going to work, is it? I need to... I don't think we can do it. Do we need to add a Latios into this deck as well? It's just so weird that he didn't bench anything the entire game. It's like, it's so disciplined. So if I stretch it for anything that isn't Arceus, I definitely can't win. Do I retreat into this Jirachi just to see what I could get? Don't think there's any other option. It does mean that I would have to get a supporter card that draws, which I don't. So essentially we needed a switch in our hand. We need to somehow develop a switch. Which we've been through 2 of our 3, so... Yep, we can't get there, unfortunately. So we'll just concede. I'm not going to do all the shenanigans for him. That's a shame. That's a shame. Lost March is still a difficult matchup for us. It was that turn where we did the Shining Arceus 30-30, which was just really weak. Really weak. We were an energy away from just taking a prize, and we were just kept up in the I take one, you take one, I take one, you take one. Which is pretty sad. Pretty sad. We made him play super weirdly, though. He had just enough fuel in his hand every turn as well. It felt like it didn't have much, but he like just had enough fuel each time. So, we're going second, and we have Ultra Ball for potentially Lele Jasmine. Which is looking cool, especially when we have switches in our hands to try and use Jirachis to reload the hand afterwards. Looks like we're up against a Malamar deck that's also playing Jirachi. We're very bad against Ultra Squids because Distortion or Sky Scorching Light is hideous to deal with. But we're okay against like DCE Mally builds. We're pretty okay. There can be turns where we are just taking knockouts, like trading. We have non-GXs to deal with his non-GXs. We force GXs onto his board. Then we put a GX onto our board and try and use Cyrus all at once. That's pretty much the hope. Okay, we pick up Cyrus, so that is in deck. If I Ultra Ball away a Nest Ball for a Lele... Well, why don't I just Lele? Why don't I just Nest Ball for a Magnemite and then Ultra Ball for Lily instead? Because the Jasmine will get us Magnemite, Jirachi, Magnezone, Attacker. But we're not staring down candies or many procs of Jirachi to use anyway. So I think we're Ultra Balling away Metal and Guzma here, with the intention of getting Lele for Lily instead. So this Nest Ball is going to be a little bit greedy in that I'm going for a Jirachi first. But the reason I do this is because I can play the switch as well and draw more cards off the Lily and guarantee a Stellar Wish, at least one this turn, to try and again find a piece that Lily doesn't get us, basically. They only got 1 Inkay down anyway and didn't manually attach, so I'm not threatened too much that the Magnemite's going to go anywhere. Oh, we really didn't draw many good pieces there. Do I Ultra Ball now or Stellar Wish and Hope Take Candy? Hope Take Candy I think is the play. Support for next turn would be good as well. Candy's the play. Do I commit an Onyx to my bench just to have something down? Because we've only played a switch so far. I could escape board Onyx and just put Onyx up, so I could help Jirachi be alive for next turn. How does he actually attack us next turn? 1 Malamar and 1 energy isn't going to do anything unless it's exactly Ultra. And if Ultra comes down, we could try to Sky Scorch. If an Ultra comes down with a Guzma, I'm scared. That's for sure. That's when I'm very upset. Maybe I'm Ultra Balling away again. I think we have to respect the potential for him to have an Ultra Squid. I think I have to respect it. I think Cyrus is the card I want to kill. I don't want to get rid of any other card here. It's a shame that we have to get rid of Cyrus. I think I have to respect a potential Ultra Guzma play. Maybe too respectful. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Or if it's DC Mali, they could use like a Shining Lugia or something. Any like random colorless attacker. But obviously Ultra Ball looks like he's more gas can based. I wouldn't be happy to see a Chomeko, that's for sure. Choice Band Erica. Okay. Big yikes. This Jirachi's pretty much got to pull through for us pretty heavily this turn. They're going to Stellar Wish now themselves. There is an Ultra. And he's going to bench it, attach to it, and recharge to it. And fortunately, he can't retreat and attack. That's a big relief. We pick up another rare candy, which isn't too hot for us. Stellar Wish. Lady is not great. But we have to take it. And I'm going to pull some energies out. And I think I just want to... Don't really want to bench the Dustmane. Don't really want to attach the Lele either. There's not much I want to do here. Not happy about this, but I think it's our play. So, if anything, just to keep the Jirachi alive. Which is pretty sad to say, but we're in that spot, unfortunately. This does get punished by Guzma, obviously. And Ultra's a naturally pretty poor matchup when we have Jirachi that can get Distortion Lord and Sky Scorched. It's even placing counters, so solid unit is not protecting you. We're not that solid of a unit, unfortunately. Here's the Stellar Wish. Pray for no Guzma. Da, 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 da. We take those. It's not even a retreat card for his Jirachi, which is very good. Oh, crumbs. Debated. So the Distortion Door puts us down to 180. But we have a second bite of the cherry now with Stellar Wish at least. All the rare candies. Stretcher. How bad is Cynthia here? Cynthia's bad, right? Cynthia has to be bad here. Stretcher attach sounds terrible though. He could just manually attach and knock out Jirachi and just be even further ahead. So I think we just have to roll. We just gotta roll with it, man. Sad boys. Fewer cards in hand. I'm aware of that, I'm afraid. Okay. Have Jirachi switch at least. More stellar decisions to be had. Let's take that, I guess. Not great though. Not great at all. Let's pass. Runner, Guzma. Yikes. Money deck playing Absol is pretty wrong, in my opinion. They limit their own bench space, which is like... It's like I killed a Malamar, right? Having that Absol on the board. But here I am playing Magnezone, so... Well, I'm playing Magnemite at the moment. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be a way for us to catch up, unfortunately. We just didn't have the goods from our Jirachis. This Candy Zone. Three energies in the bin, sure. Let's wish upon a star. I think I still take the Coronet here. I have to assume he'll knock us out. Do I retreat switch or do I just keep? I think I just... Oh, I need to play this because of Absol. You scary little fella. Let's do this. See what they can come up with. They can't Sky Scorch for game at least because they don't have enough bench space. But they can definitely Photon Geyser for game if they hit Beast Energy or Choice Band. There's one Choice Band there. That's not a Beast Energy. Interesting to see Cynthia, because he could have drawn into the... Like, he always had guaranteed metal because of Viridian. He could have drawn into Beast as an out. Where? They are going to Viridian away a dead card and grab a Psychic. Pulling all the cards out instead of wishing for Band, it looks like. And there it is. I will save us all some time and get out of here and have one more game. Let's see if we can pull off any dream combos. So far the Cyrus hasn't been pulling its weight. Maybe we just need to go to 4th Lily. Maybe I got too greedy in my stage 2 deck. Jirachi gives us all hope. We have to get another Ultra Squids. Oh, Ultra Squids is like an auto loss. It's sad. I wanted to profile this deck in a much better light, but so far we've not been able to win. Low tier deck stays low tier. Sad face. Arceus is basically only for mill, right? Onyx can at least put a shift in. Going second, we bench this. There was some debate to going leading the Magnemite here, just so we have a skateboard for options. Yeah, we are up against Ultra Squids. But our hand doesn't have options, so we're just stuck with a lady. There's a Jirachi, there's options. Ultra Squids is scary, that's for sure. As we've seen, it's hard for us to recycle Arceus 3 times. So we're not going to try and do that against all of his Malamars, although that would be pretty PogChamp. Maybe we need to play 2 copies of this boy. Or a 3rd Stretcher. I'm getting pretty wild now. 3am thoughts.co.uk. They're going to wish for a Viridian. And then treasure away one Psychic. There's Inkay. They can Ultra Ball as well now. Getting rid of a Gengar Mimikyu. Scary times. They're going to get into a second Jirachi. And let's see if they wish for anything before their supporter. Another escape board. Oh, they actually are not. They don't have a supporter in hand. Crazy. We pick up a switch as well, which is also really good. Let's Stellar Wish. Okay. Okay, we're happy with this. We are just straight up happy with this. I think I bet you the Arceus. I think their slow start could be capitalized on with spread better than like Onyx taking prizes. We'll work towards that turn 2 zone next turn. Again, they do have burst potential with Malamar and stuff, but their hand was so weak last turn. The Stellar Wishes have to be really stellar if he's going to do much. Oh, he might just be horror housing here to stop us playing stuff. We could still Stellar Wish though. And we like seeing a tag team on the board, that's for sure. That's amazing for our Dustmane. We can one bomb this if we let him go ahead. Certainly I'm scared of a Horror House GX though. If he is able to do that and then just knock out our Magnemite, we're going to be in sad positions. That's for sure. And they're still Ultra Necrozma, let's not forget that. Still a really bad matchup, just because they can deal with both Jirachis with the Sky Scorch. And any Magnemites we leave lying around, because it's counters, not damage. And this is just preventing all damage. They're gonna Stellar Wish, grab a Guzma, treasure, away said Guzma. They just want another Inkay, probably. Oh, they're going straight for Mali. Maybe they have Switch Horror House. Maybe they have Switch KO. That's also scary, huh? Yep. Scary days. Okay, definitely puts the pressure on. He only has one Malamar though. Not that we can punish it, but maybe we could. This is actually a good attacker if we go for one ultimate arrow, so I don't mind benching it just to... It's also thinning the hand towards the Lily. I don't think I want to stretch... if I do, it's going to be into the deck rather than into the hand. I think I Stellar Wish first to try and get a Ball Search to lower our hand size. Or to get a better supporter. Feels good. The Metal Energies are free to discard if we hit a stadium. So let's go for the free stuff. I'm a believer. Don't know about you. We're not going to stretch our Jirachi back to our hand because we want to have space for another Magnemite. And I don't think I want to put this back in our deck, but it's so important for us to hit stuff that I think I will. It does make the Shining Arceus route look a lot sketchier, though. That's not the dream, that's for sure. At least if we get a rare candy off this, we could try and be less Guzma vulnerable. So there's that. Now he needs to have Guzma and Psychic in hand rather than just Guzma in hand. Oh. Still scary though. He's still going ahead on prizes even if he just attaches to the active. And it's going to be a long way back. This time though he does have a tag team on the board, so maybe there's a route where we can still win. Sad violin. Sad violin. This really is a sad day for all involved. Unless he's Cello Wishing hoping to hit a Viridian. Maybe it's the greediest play I've ever seen. Okay. Maybe. Maybe we're getting all worked up over nothing. It's all going to be okay. Oh, crumbs. Yeah, we're going to concede this game. Let's get one more and hope to not hit an Ultra Squid. Jeez, they're popular. They are popular. And this is not a good deck if that deck is popular. Lightning, Water, Psychic, Colorless. Is this going to be Jolteon Frogs? Jolteon Frogs? Jolteon Frogs? Please? Fun deck? Happy fun time for all? Especially when I start Shining Arceus. This hand is atrocious. Oh man. Oh, it's gonna be it. It's gonna be it, boys. Hello, friend. We grab Jirachi here and switch into it every time. We're just dead without this. Da-da-da. Thank you, Jirachi. You are busted. That's you. Haw. Pog. Pog Champiroonians. Let's pass. Jolteon Frogs. These guys have clearly watched an OmniPoke video. What a god. Should we tell him he has a good deck? Now, let's be real here. He is very good at targeting down Jirachis. So this is not going to be easy. Not going to be easy at all. We got a good start. We got the zone. We have a potential Onyx play, provided enough energy cards. Let's wish upon a star. We'll keep grabbing the lilies because we have Mount Coronets everywhere. We'll do these things. We will retrizzle. Wish upon a star. Guzma might be good for some shenanigans. Let's use this. The 30-30-30 doesn't look great. Does any other attack look great though? Not really. Not really. This Shining Arceus has seen way too much attention. He's just meant to be here for Lost March, and we're just jamming him, man. He's just a one-off. We're just jamming him every game. Just get that 90 damage in. Pretty sure it's going to be always irrelevant on Oranguru and Froakie and Jolteon, but just jam it, man. He can KO Jirachi, which is sad, but that's the deck, so can't be too angry. The damage on the Greninja GX might be relevant for letting us kill a Greninja GX later on with Dustmane. Can't even remember what it's called. We're just gonna get head bolted. Oh, he didn't respect us enough for the GX attack. No respect. This is where we Ultra Ball Onyx and he gives us a wow face emoji. Fisherman is a Pog top deck. Fisherman is a Pog top deck. You know why? Because we can attack with Onyx and take 2 prizes. That's why. Genius. Onyx, you are a true friend. This is really gonna be bad for his board. Didn't respect the Onyx. I mean, he's up against a Magnezone deck, so who would ever respect an Onyx? But that was a good draw. Thank you, Fisherman. You saved our bacon, maybe. Maybe. Here's a Greninja. Ready to get slain by one land crushy boy. He's going to band it up as well. Just a draw more from Cynthia, looks like. He is miles away from Super Boost, I hope. Attaches to the Froakie. Passes. This is very good news. This is very good news. Let's Cynthia. And pop down him. And just try and crush. Sometimes they play Max Pot, sometimes they play Scoop Ups, sometimes they play Acerola. Like there are opportunities for him to heal this, which would be a little bit yucky. Was the energy worth holding just for Guzma players, now that I think about it? Now that he Nest Balls out of Eevee. But he can't evolve this Eevee, right? There's just no way. That is bravery at its finest. I applaud the bravery. Maybe he's just keeping it as a non-GX for now. That's fine. That's fair. I can roll with that. Let's just use Lady. This little lady. I think we just attach 1 here. It means that we're Stadium away, and it means I could still do Guzma retreat stuff. So just 1 will do. And we'll just take 2 prizes. Onyx hard carrying us on his hard body back. All these Diglets. Loving life. What we've learned is Onix is good in this format. No matter how you put 4 energies on him, just put 4 energies on him and he will do the work. That's pretty much it. So he's obviously going to Swift Run GX here. Get himself down to the cheeky 3 prizes. Also attaches just to instruct. There is a world where we can lose this game. So we just don't have to get too crazy here. Just don't get too crazy. That's all we need to do. We can try and get a backup Magnezone, so I think that's good. Or the backup Dustmane, and then he can't really kill anything. If I just attach 2 energy to one and 1 energy to the other, he can't kill anything, right? Or do we just do 2 energy to each, huh? I definitely want 3 energy on one. And I guess because we have, like this, so I can still goose my retreat stuff. And I can still retreat the active if I need to. I think that's correct. Let me just pass. We wake up. We don't want to get too kooky here. He's going to drop the Prism and play a Cynthia. See a Rescue Stretcher. Frogadier, he's looking to take maybe 3 prizes at once. Is his out? Hope that the Jirachi's trapped. It's a difficult puzzle for him to solve, though. Yep. We got him. Right, so at least we got 1 win in there. Onix is just a big swing. A big swing whenever you see lightning or fighting, and that's what we're all about here. So, yeah, hope you did enjoy me trying to get creative with the stage 2 and have an interesting list. We didn't see the Cyrus come off too much, so maybe that just becomes an extra supporter card. We were a little bit iffy on a few hands, so maybe we go to a 4th Lily. I still like the inclusion of double Lady. I think it's just so important to get those energies out. If you don't want to play Lady, you can just go up to like 10 energy, but I still think it's a low count that like if you're Synthering into, you're only really finding 1 or 2 anyway, and it's not really enough, so yeah. If you feel like adding in second Onyx, second Arceus, or some other means of spreading, by all means, give that a whirl as well, so let me know what you guys think about this list. Hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you in another video soon. Cheers.